Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Love Queendom. This is a space of love and joy and peace and abundance and all the good things. And here at The Love Queendom, we talk about spiritual ascension and how to create your own reality. And on today's episode, I am doing part 2 of a 3-part series on the 3D matrix and how to escape. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to start controlling your energy and shifting your frequency, which is the actual way how you eject yourself out of the matrix. So we'll talk about that. But if you haven't listened to part 1, I highly recommend that you listen to that before you listen to this episode. In part 1 of the series, I spoke about what the matrix is, why it exists, and I also spoke about some different aspects of the matrix, okay? So in this video, I'm going to dive deeper into how the matrix works so you can understand how to escape it, okay? So in part 1, remember I spoke about the matrix being a super complex, hyper realistic hologram that feels real, right? Because it has the illusion of touch, taste, smell, etc. But all of this is just an illusion, okay? And I know that that is very hard for people to wrap their minds around, that the world that you're living in isn't really real, but this is the truth of our existence. This is the truth of our reality. And I mean, there are even more components to it than this, but that's not the point of this episode. So, in the movie The Matrix, okay, The Matrix is built using computer code, right? And basically the minds of the humans are plugged into this machine where they are having this dream-like experience that feels real, right? Now, in our matrix, it functions kind of in a similar way, right? But my understanding of it is that we are not living in like a computer simulation. We are actually living in a simulation that is built off of energy, okay? And it's like different frequencies of energy that are vibrating at different frequencies. And that is sort of the building blocks of this matrix, okay? It's an energy-based matrix. It's not really a computer simulation type of hologram, right? Now, it is possible that there is a sort of computer element to our matrix, but this is just my understanding of it, okay? My understanding is that we're basically playing a game of manipulating energy with our minds, okay, with our consciousness, because that is what is actually having the experience is your consciousness, okay? It is your mind, right? So what you are able to perceive and experience in this reality, because we're playing an energy game, okay, your experience is based on the energetic frequency of your avatar, which is your body, okay? So the energetic frequency of your avatar is based on the belief programs that are running in your subconscious mind. And those belief programs put your body into a certain frequency, okay? And I'm just going to give you a kind of example of this. So if you close your eyes and you think about something, for example, you think about an experience that you had in your past that was disappointing, right? Like maybe you really wanted a job and you didn't get it, or maybe you were trying to date someone and the situation didn't work out for you, right? So you felt those feelings of disappointment. If you close your eyes and imagine it, you will feel those feelings again. Those feelings come up when the thoughts come into your mind. And so what is happening to us in our reality is that the more that you repeat those thoughts in your mind, the more that your body feels those emotions, and the more that your reality will produce experiences to reflect those feelings. So you are actually projecting your own hologram. Okay, all of your life experiences are based on your individual energetic frequency. Okay, and again, most people are not aware of this. They don't understand that this is how reality works. They view the outside as completely separate from them. Everything is just kind of like luck or random, or this is just how life is, right? And then because most of the people that they encounter in their reality too, particularly in their intimate relationships, all of those people will also be existing in a similar frequency to you. So you will also not be able to see or understand that there are different realities that exist for you to experience if you are only perceiving one layer of experience because you are in a certain frequency, right? So this is very important to understand. And the same thing goes as well for like positive experiences, right? Like if you kind of daydream about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you will inevitably draw that experience to you in some way. And that is kind of how people experience what I call sort of like random creation, where they actually do get something that, positive that they really want without consciously trying to create it. It's just because, they really want it, but they really believe they can get it. And so they kind of like dream about it, and then they take action towards it, and they kind of just keep going, and through the determination and just this belief that like I'm gonna get this thing, it eventually will materialize for them. But for most people, that is not their experience, right? And in part 1 of this series, I also spoke about how the 3D matrix that most people are in, it exists within a certain lower band of frequencies. Okay, so there are kind of like a frequency scale, if you will, the same way that you can measure the frequency of sound, right? It's literally the same thing. So your body is vibrating at a certain frequency. The matrix itself has an upper limit of frequency. Once you pass that frequency, you're no longer in the matrix, okay? And this doesn't mean that you are not going to be on this planet anymore, or that you're going to all of a sudden like appear in a random location and you're going to just like disappear out of your physical reality where you are to somewhere else completely. No, it's not like that. It's just basically your experiences from that point onwards, once you get to that frequency, will be different. It will feel different, okay? Because you are in a totally different feeling. So your reality, the things that you're going to be experiencing, have to be in alignment with that new feeling that you are in, that new energetic frequency that you're in, okay? And this stuff is all very, very subtle, okay? It's very subtle and it's very nuanced. So you have to pay attention. If you start doing this work to shift yourself, you have to pay attention, because it's very nuanced how it works, how it shifts, and this is the same thing when people talk about quantum shifting or quantum timeline jumping and stuff. This is basically what you're doing as well, okay? Now, as I said, the 3D matrix, it exists within a certain, lower band of frequencies. Most people will not be able to experience a reality outside of these frequencies because they don't understand that this is how reality works, right? And they don't know the tools and techniques that they need to implement in order to shift their frequency. So, like I was saying earlier as well, sometimes people can do this spontaneously, right? But for the most part, they're stuck recycling experiences that are usually undesirable. And this includes all aspects of their lives, work, family dynamics, relationships, friendships, their health, money and abundance, etc., right? They are recycling what I like to call struggly experiences, okay, in all of these areas of their lives. And this even boils down to simple day-to-day things like going to an appointment, okay? So when you are in a lower frequency where you are operating on limiting belief subconscious programs, you will encounter roadblocks and obstacles all the time in everything you do, okay? Life will just not really be easy or harmonious for you. And so let's say if you're going to an appointment, things will just happen to make you late for your appointment. Or maybe you get to the appointment and then they tell you last minute after you struggle to get there that, they have to cancel the appointment or something, right? Now, these kinds of general inconveniences, they seem normal for most people. They don't realize that this doesn't have to be your reality forever, okay? Because even something as simple as being stuck in traffic, it's an inconvenience that most people think is normal and unavoidable, but that doesn't have to be your experience. You can literally be existing in a frequency, in a reality where everything works out smoothly and harmoniously for you. Even when it seems like, oh my God, I don't know if this is going to work out, it will blow your mind. Like miraculously, things will just be smooth and easy and, everything will work out for you, and that will become your new normal and it will be expected, right? So if something seemingly unpleasant is happening to you, that will be out of the normal for you. And like, you will really notice it because that's no longer your normal, right? But now the question becomes, how exactly do you shift yourself into these higher frequencies to pull yourself up to these higher timelines? Okay, and we're going to talk about this. I'm going to tell you guys specific step-by-step techniques that you can do, okay? So my top 3 methods for shifting your frequency and pulling yourself up to higher timelines are, number 1, listening to affirmation programs during the day and while you sleep, okay? Number 2, visualization meditations. And number 3 is stillness meditations. Okay, so I'm going to go into some details about all 3 of these. So firstly, I will say that I have recorded several programs you can listen to. By the time you listen to this video, the programs should be available on my website, thelovequeendom.com. Should also be available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, okay, by the time this episode is live. So that's just to say. And these are audio programs where I speak affirmations that will raise your frequency if you listen to them for 8 to 10 hours a day, okay? And the programs that I've designed, they are specifically to put you in a frequency that is higher than the matrix. So as I said, you're still going to be here on earth, okay? But you will be on a higher timeline that will basically energetically shield you from the matrix activities as it sinks, because it's sinking, okay? And so, like I said, there are tons of, positive affirmation audio programs you can find on all of these platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. You can find positive affirmation tracks to listen to. And those positive affirmation tracks will absolutely help you to shift limiting beliefs and shift your frequency as well. The difference between what I have put together and those other programs is that the ones I've recorded are specifically designed to put you in a frequency that is higher than the matrix, okay? This is not just for the purpose of manifesting your dream job or getting good grades in school, okay? Or healing a health ailment or manifesting a specific person. The programs are for you to raise your frequency above the matrix so that you are no longer energetically caught up and tied into all of these matrix shenanigans that are going on, okay? Because most people on the planet, they are completely caught up and consumed by all of the negative stuff going on, crime in their city, inflation, oh my God, impending recession, toxic relationship dynamic bullshit, all kinds of things. It's just this type of stuff that people are experiencing. And even if they're not experiencing it, they're allowing their minds to be consumed by these things, like watching the negative news all the time, just getting caught up with their coworkers' drama, office politics, family drama, fighting with their friends, just all that type of stuff. You will get ejected out of it. All of those people may still exist within your reality in some capacity, but the dynamics between you and all of those external things will be completely, completely different when you start working on your energy. And the people around you, they may not really even understand, why you're different or why their dynamic with you is different, but they will also feel it, and some of these people, it will make them uncomfortable. There's nothing that you can really do about that. I think, it's just to kind of use wisdom and be gentle with the people who are still where they are. And, that's okay. But you have to choose for yourself not to stay in the suffering. And so if you make that choice for yourself, these are the steps that will help you get out of it. Because the frequency that you need to get to is a frequency of love, okay? And high self-worth as well. Love, high self-worth, and abundance, and removing all limitations from your mind, okay? So you have to kind of have this limitless potential in your mind, this feeling that any and everything is possible for you. That is extremely, extremely important, especially, like I said, because the matrix is sinking. So you have to have a mindset of, number one, I'm not part of this, right? It's like once you pull yourself into a higher frequency, all of that stuff starts feeling far from you, which is amazing. You will be, like I said, physically in the same space, but it feels different. Like everything feels different. Your reality feels different. The dynamics with you and other people in your life will be different. And all of the negative stuff will feel totally far away from you. You could even look at the negative nudes if you wanted to. You could look at weird stuff on social media and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing this, but I'm not feeling whatever they're talking about. It does not feel relatable to you anymore. And that's what you want. You want to get yourself to a place where anything negative, anything weird, anything struggly, okay, it no longer feels relevant to you and your life and your reality. That's where you need to get to. And as I will continue to reiterate, this requires you to pay attention, okay? Once you start shifting yourself, you have to start paying attention to how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and noticing how things start shifting around you, because it is very subtle and it's very nuanced, right? So if you don't pay attention, you could easily miss it. And so as I said, the affirmations that I've put together, they're all positive. They're all clearly stated in the program, okay? There are no subliminals. So there's nothing in there that you're not going to be able to hear what I'm saying. I state everything clearly. I do recommend that you listen to them on a low volume, so it's kind of seeping into your subconscious mind, but there's nothing in there that you won't know what I'm saying, okay? And I will say things in these programs like, I am love, I am joy. I am peace. I am abundance. I am worthy. Everything is easy for me. That's like literally one of my favorite ones. I am stable. I am grounded. I am safe. I am secure. Okay. These kind of things, you want to be in that feeling. You want to be feeling all of those kind of things, and that is going to reflect for you in your reality. So there's a lot more. Obviously, affirmations, that's just a small snippet example of the kind of stuff that's in there. And as I said, all of this is designed to give you new programs, new belief programs that you are going to start injecting into your subconscious mind that will raise your frequency to be in alignment with higher earth timelines, because earth, there's multiple timelines going on right now. You don't want to be on the matrix timeline anymore. Trust me. That is a sinking timeline, and that is a timeline that will drag you down into misery and suffering. You don't want to be there. So what I am teaching you guys how to do, is I'm teaching you how to control your energy. Because remember, the matrix that we are in, it is an energy matrix, And this 3D, inverted evil matrix, it does this energy control for you by bombarding your mind with negative stimuli. And it keeps your mind running these low-level programs, and it keeps you in a low vibration. So you're never really able to, pull yourself out of it and have higher level, better experiences. And when you are in these low vibrations, you will constantly seek out, external stimuli that is pleasurable, because your general disposition doesn't feel good. And this is why so many people in the matrix are always running around trying to do different things to distract themselves, to feel good and be happy, because their lives are miserable and they don't feel good. So when you put yourself in an energy, though, where you feel good all the time and you're stable, the desire for pleasure seeking in this way, it drastically reduces. Because when you're in a low vibration, which again, this is normal for most people, they don't realize that they're in a low vibration. But this is where addictions come from, things like drugs, drinking, alcohol, sex, even things like shopping and partying. Another thing people do as well to kind of distract themselves from the miserable feeling they feel inside, this dissatisfaction and lack of fulfillment that they feel inside, is traveling. Workaholism is another one, right? People are constantly moving, running around, doing different things just so that they don't have to sit with themselves to feel the lack of fulfillment, the lack of good feelings that they are in. So they don't understand that your life is not supposed to be like that, And it doesn't need to be like that forever. If you're noticing that, all of these normal, again, I'm doing air quotations, normal behaviors, right? Going out with your friends and drinking and partying and, shopping and living your life, right? All that kind of stuff, that's matrix stuff. That stuff is a way to kind of fill the void. It's a way to fill the void of positive emotions, positive feelings, to fill the void of love is really what it is, And again, it's like so simple, but it's been made super occlusive and complex, so people don't understand this, and it's hidden from them on purpose to keep them controlled. So at the end of the day, if there is only one thing you can do for yourself to help yourself reach higher timelines and eject out of the matrix, please listen to these programs daily. At least listen to some kind of positive affirmations daily, for at least 8 hours a day. And you need to do this on a consistent basis. This needs to be part of your normal daily routine for at least a year. That's what I would recommend to get yourself to a really high place where you're kind of stable and normal. Everything negative in the matrix is feeling far from you, and your life is starting to shift in a positive direction, So yeah, I like to do this while I'm sleeping. I also like to listen to these affirmations while I'm working, and I like to listen to mine as well with these sleep headphones that I got from Amazon. I'll try to remember to link them below as well. Let me try to make that note in my podcast notes while I'm recording this. Link headphones. Okay. And I will also post specific instructions that will be on my website, thelovequeendom.com, about how to work with the affirmations, a daily routine, how to, manage yourself as you're shifting. Because depending on where you're starting from, if you start doing this work with yourself, this can be very mentally and emotionally intense process. So you will need to be very gentle with yourself as you are shifting into a higher frequency, okay? Because it's perfectly normal for you to experience things like having bad dreams or nightmares, if you listen to these programs while you sleep, because your brain also has to purge all the negative, low vibrational programs when you start downloading new programs that are positive, right? So it has to come out some way. And you may also experience highs and lows during the day, or, you could feel your energy shifting and moving through your body. All of that stuff is normal as you're moving into a higher frequency, but it's a unique experience, right? That requires you to kind of be prepared for it and understand what's going on. So you'll really need to start paying attention to yourself. And as I said, you need to pay attention to other people and things around you as well as you embark on the journey, in order for you to really notice the shifts and the changes happening around you. Because another thing that is common when you start shifting yourself to higher timelines is that you will experience like a loss of memory. And that is very common because you are basically like creating a new version of yourself in a new reality. So it's normal for you to not really remember, like in vivid detail, what happened to you in the past, and most importantly, what it felt like, because your old life, your matrix life, it will feel far from you. Like these lower level timelines that you were on in the past, they'll feel far from you. Like you'll remember vaguely that, oh yeah, I had, XYZ experiences and these things happened to me. I grew up in, this city or this country and whatever. But because you're no longer in the feeling, or a feeling that is close to those experiences, you won't remember them as vividly. It'll be very, very vague for you. So that's also normal. Now let's talk about the second best way to shift your frequency, which is through visualization. And I am starting to absolutely love this technique, but in my opinion, I think it is best used in combination with the affirmations. And I also think that doing visualization exercises is best used for co-creation, or when you are trying to align to a specific outcome, e.g., you're trying to manifest something like a relationship, a specific job, or a certain amount of money or something like that, right? Because the affirmations will put you in an overall higher frequency, and they will release a lot of energetic blocks for you for things that you want to experience. The visualizations will help you to normalize the feeling of specific things you want to experience by feeling it over and over and over and over again, to the point that your brain thinks it's already done, like you've already experienced it, right? So it's normal for you. And it's good to incorporate this in your frequency shifting if there is something specific that you need or you want to experience. You have to learn how to normalize it in your brain so that you can just affirm it into existence and, allow it to materialize for you. The last way that you can raise your vibration, that also works, okay, but it's the last one that I recommend, and there's a reason for that. That is stillness meditations, okay? And basically what happens is that when you learn to sit still and quiet your mind, you are able to merge with infinite intelligence. And that raises your frequency because now you are like putting yourself in alignment with source energy, which vibrates at the frequency of unconditional love. So that's great. And meditation also helps you to unlock other things like, psychic downloads and telepathy or other spiritual and psychic gifts. The only reason I put this one last and why I don't recommend it as my top one is because I just don't believe that it's appropriate for people who are just starting out with energy work, specifically for people who are really trying to aggressively shift themselves out of the matrix and maybe are in a reality where life is really hard for them right now. Because for you to sit down and meditate, you need to be able to have like a quiet place, a private place. You need to have time, okay? And a lot of people do not have time because they're in survival mode, right? They are working all the time, running around, chasing after kids, just dealing with the stresses of everyday life, right? So they don't have the time to do this. And also, when you are in those kind of, lower vibration where life is hard for you, your mind is loud and it's cluttered with all types of thoughts and worries and anxieties and all this stuff, right? So I just feel like asking someone in that state to sit down and practice sitting still, you're asking them for a lot. And I think people who are like super determined and disciplined, yes, they can push themselves to do this every day and they could see results with this alone. But for me personally, I recommend incorporating this type of meditation later on when you have already pulled yourself out of these lower frequencies and you are more stable. Because once you get to that state, like your mind is already going to be so much quieter because you don't have these worries and these fears and these anxieties. Like you basically use the affirmations to clear all of that out and put yourself in a mindset, in an energy where you just feel fine. You feel at peace, you feel stable. And so it's so much easier for you to sit down and be quiet and still with yourself when you're already in that type of state, and actually it's even more enjoyable when you do it from existing in a higher frequency because it's kind of relaxing, It's almost like you're just, putting your mind on sleep mode a little bit. You're still there, it's still on, but like not all the way. So it's kind of refreshing. But just to recap everything, okay? Let's all remember. Number one, we live in a holographic reality. Okay, guys, I know it sounds unbelievable and crazy, but if you're listening to this program, okay, it's like your mind is already ready to expand beyond normal thinking. So we live in a holographic reality. The hologram is hyper realistic. It is enhanced with sensation and touch and taste and smell, emotion, okay, in order for it to feel extremely real. And you're not supposed to know that this is all just a dream, okay? And as I said, the hologram exists in order for the creator or God or infinite intelligence to experience it itself as separate from itself, okay? In other words, God is just playing a game with itself where it's pretending that it's not God in order to break up the monotony of an eternal existence, right? Because God exists eternally. Our spirit is eternal, right? We are fractals of that infinite intelligence. If we were to just exist in that non-physical spiritual existence for all eternity, eternity is like unfathomable to us in a human form, right? That would be so boring to just be forever. So in order to, break up that boredom of just being, we have created, God, infinite intelligence, has created these experiences for itself so that it can experience itself as separate from itself, right? And the purpose of this specific 3D Earth matrix is to go through experiences that will push you to choose love and compassion over fear and competition, okay? And it's also designed for you to master co-creation by learning how to control your mind and your energy. And the experiences in the hologram each player has is based on their energetic frequency, okay? The matrix is designed to contain some suffering as a catalyst for choosing, but it's not meant to contain the level of suffering that humanity is experiencing right now. And this is what we are trying, okay? People like myself who are here on Earth at this time, we are trying to help pull humanity out of the deep suffering, okay? Because it's too much. Now, this 3D matrix, right, it's been hijacked to keep the consciousness and the frequency of humanity extremely, extremely low and slow in order for the evil entities that are doing this to have a population that they can subjugate and control and use for whatever they want. And I think I actually spoke about this in my video where I was talking about the ego reality versus the love reality, 3D versus 5D. It's one of my earlier videos. But basically, these evil entities have hijacked our matrix, okay? And they are trying to turn Earth into a service to self planet where everyone is acting from extreme physical survival mode and ego survival mode, okay? And basically, it's like when people are acting from that kind of level of being, it's you will use and abuse and throw other people under the bus to get whatever you want at all costs, right? And this is so that they don't have to die physically due to starvation or other physical challenges, or so that they don't have to feel bad about themselves, okay? When we are talking about ego survival mode, it is so that people's egos don't have to feel bruised. They don't have to feel bad about themselves. They can kind of continue existing in this state where it's like, yeah, I'm great, I'm fine. Woohoo, look at me. My life is amazing. Like, that is ego survival mode. Not ever wanting to take an L or feel bad about yourself in any way where you're going to have to take a step back and kind of reassess, yourself and how you feel and maybe realize that you were wrong or whatever, right? Nobody wants to have to take responsibility for the reality that they're creating. So they want to exist in this state where everything is separate from them. Nothing that happens to them is their fault. So they can continue feeling good about themselves, right? And living your life in this way requires you to constantly have something to feed off of energetically in order to keep yourself up, to keep yourself lifted, right? To keep yourself feeling good. It's basically an energetic Ponzi scheme, okay, is what they're trying to solidify on Earth. And in order for you to eject out of this reality and out of this way of being, you have to learn a new way of being, okay? You have to learn how to control your energy by controlling your consciousness Start filling your mind with positive stimuli, positive statements about yourself, so you're no longer relying on your life or the people around you, needing to be a certain way in order for you to feel good or be happy or feel okay. You are controlling your own energy now. So you're stable. You're the boss. You're in control of your reality, of your experience on this planet going forward. And you can start doing this work by listening to my Ascension programs daily, being gentle with yourself, stabilizing yourself as you shift. I want to give a shout out to Dylan James, actually, because he is the one who really introduced me to this technique, although he uses it for different purposes than I am. But, kudos to him, because I wouldn't be doing this work if it wasn't because of him. You can align yourself to higher timeline experiences as well through visualization. You can also raise your vibration through stillness meditations, but as I said, I recommend using affirmation programs first until your mind and your energy kind of quiets down before you start doing that. And that is really the sum total of what I wanted to talk about in this video, okay? If you want to eject out of the matrix, you have to start pulling yourself up to higher frequencies. You can do that using affirmations. It is a slow and subtle process. It requires you to be disciplined and do this work with yourself every single day for, at least a year, I would say. You will notice the shifts before that, of course, even within a month or two, even the very first day that you start doing this, okay, you're going to notice stuff. But for you to really experience the kind of night and day shift, you have to be doing this for a consistent period of time. And I will continue to post more content on this subject, because this is really the bulk of my work, is, helping to pull us up, out of the struggling, out of the suffering, okay, out of the ego separation that we are existing in. If you want to stop suffering on this planet, you have to change your way of being. You have to learn a higher way of being that requires you to be fully responsible for yourself and the reality that you're creating for yourself, okay? It's not an easy process, but it is a very worthwhile process. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below if you're watching this on YouTube, or send me an email. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next episode. The next one is going to be part 3 of this, the 3D matrix and how to escape. That one, we're going to be talking about money and abundance, which I know is something a lot of people want to know more about. So we'll talk about that.